Hey y'all. Okay, I'm getting ready. I wanted to just kind of use this time to talk about something that I always want to share about, but I don't have like a podcast or an outlet or anywhere to really chat you guys up about things that I think kind of align with my industry or what's going on in our world in terms of social media marketing and stuff like that. So I guess you could say this is like my podcast trial, if you will. But I wanted to chat about those two foodie influencers that got hit by a car while dining at a hosted visit at that restaurant and kind of what that looks like from my angle, right? And the reason why I bring this up is because I spoke with an attorney a few months ago and I asked them to do me a contract that I would send to influencers that are making physical visits into my restaurant. So as you guys know, as a marketing agency, we go on site to accounts, right? And photograph the accounts. And some of our big corporate, especially like our hotel accounts or big corporate accounts, do make us hold an insurance policy that holds them harmless. And we have certificates obviously written out that spell all of that out, to like where if one of our contractors or our employees are representing us on site get injured, the liability is not on the account. So it just prompts the conversation of what does this look like legally, especially since yesterday I saw something that Tony Busby now wants to represent the two influencers that were injured and sue the landlord, right? And so to me, it just gets real hairy. But all of that could have been prevented if the influencers that were visiting the restaurant signed a contract agreement not holding the venue responsible for any injuries that could happen during their visit. Now, this is kind of a wild one. It's kind of like those State Farm commercials where, like, you don't believe it because it's so wild, like what occurred, particularly in this case scenario. But the reason why I bring up the conversation is because I think we need to be talking about what happens in situations like this, or what happens when an influencer slips and falls on a visit, right? Or what happens when they get served a food that they have kind of an allergic reaction to. I think it's just time to have that conversation. And this event prompted me to come out and talk about this. I am working on writing up that agreement, but also too, it adds more risk to the influencer visiting the restaurant. And sometimes they're visiting restaurants just for trade, which means that they're just getting free food. And I know that for me, as an influencer myself, like I love visiting restaurants, and sometimes I'll do stuff for trade just because I love the restaurant so much, or I just believe in the concept, or it's a family friend, or it's just a colleague of mine that needs a favor and says, hey, go out there to this restaurant. And you just don't think about the risk. And I don't know how I would feel if they said, yeah, go ahead and do me this favor. Go ahead and go for free. And all of a sudden I go and, I get hit by a car. Or what if I just simply slip and fall? And then what, right? Then I have to sue obviously the restaurant, but then the restaurant turns right back around and sues us because we're the ones that sent the influencer in. So it's a very hairy scenario, but I do think that as agency owners and agencies and influencer coordinators, we do have to incorporate the contractual terms and the legalities in order to just not just shield ourselves, but protect the client and protect us. But simultaneously to that, I do think that it warrants the conversation of, again, if I sign up to do something for free and a trade, and I'm going to go and eat there for free, great. And then I'm going to use my platform and my social media to talk about your restaurant. And now you want me to sign a legal agreement. It kind of gets a little bit like, well, do I want to be doing this for free? Am I signing liability away? Because, I'm doing it for free. At that point, I think the conversation just changes. And I think that we need to be talking about the conversation changing from a trade capacity to a paid capacity, because I don't want to enter into a legal agreement if I'm just getting a free $20 meal. Like, it's not worth it for me. And I think that, again, this is just such a great area, and it's probably warranted a follow-up post conversation with an attorney to talk about how we as agency owners can mitigate. And I just think about it even a step further. Like, if a restaurant, if a restaurant that's hosting an influencer has an injury, or say someone falls or someone chokes, right? God forbid. We never want that to happen. But at that point, it's not just the relationship with the influencer that's jeopardized. It's also the relationship with the client. So a lot of ugly, legal areas that need to be explored here in this part of the industry. I don't think it's common, right? Because like, not every customer that's going into a restaurant is, signing a legal waiver saying, yeah, I'm not going to hold you liable. But I just think that when it is an influencer, that is a handoff, that is a relationship that is coming in from a third party agency like us. And therefore, that's where the risk is. That's where the risk is coming in, because that person wouldn't have otherwise gone to the restaurant. Hold on, this is hard. Okay, so that's where the risk involvement lies, is like, that person wouldn't have otherwise gone to the restaurant if it wasn't for the agency that sent them in. So I don't know. It's just, I wanted to bring it up. I think like we should be talking about this, and maybe I'll have an attorney friend join me on the next conversation about this topic, so we can like look at what agency owners should be doing to prevent risk in this scenario, and what restaurant owners should be doing as well. All right. Well, I'm ready now. Talk to you guys soon.